Hello and welcome to show number 2. Leaders create their own stress. Show 2. Happy to have you aboard. Right now, we're going to go ahead and play some music and some station stuff to get paid, and let's go. So, as we're waiting on people to come on.
Here at David at Life Coach Hub.com we pride ourselves on creating a 360-degree coaching program that covers motivation, discipline, and support through custom tools to help you improve your quality of life. The key to having success with your goals is to understand that life is a journey with many lessons to learn. We strive to help you become the person that understands themselves and to make the adjustments for a fulfilling lifestyle.
Thank you for allowing us to be the best that we can for you today. Wow. I can tell you it's been a great time since I last podcasted. Many great and wonderful things. I am truly living in a world of abundance. I can't thank you enough for helping me. By you listening to my podcast, it helps me to move through what I need to move through and to stay into my creative brain and my creative functions. So I would like to thank everyone for listening, and I would thank you that I'm able to give you something for your time and effort. Whether you're driving home from work, whether you're at home or you're working from home or whatever the case may be, I just want to thank you for listening. Sometimes it's not easy listening. Sometimes it's not easily trying to identify with you guys out there in podcast land. But I just speak from my heart and I do everything as best as I can. I try not to go back in and redo my podcast because I want to keep it as organic as possible. So you'll know that I'm speaking from the heart. Eventually, maybe I'll probably hire someone to clean it up. But for right now, we're just going through and speaking for what we know. All right. I am David, your host for Success Through Strategy. And yes, today's show is Leaders Create Their Own Stress. And this is show two for our Tuesday night, 6 p.m. show, Central Standard Time. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. The leaders create their own stress is a very common theme when you're coaching any kind of a sport or you're coaching any kind of situation and where you're the leader. So that's why we call it the leaders create their own stress. Show two. So let's get into it right away. All right. Leaders have to make decisions based upon what they deem to be the facts. Therein lies the problem. Because a lot of times facts change and so do situations change. So it's in a constant flux, a constant movement. So how a leader creates their own stress is not so much as being bullheaded at this point in the conversation, but we'll say at the start when you first become the leader, sometimes you have to make wholesale changes that might not benefit you down the road. And if you're a first time leader, you don't really know what works and what doesn't. So we'll talk from the point of view of being a leader and also being a person that was led, whether it be a football player, track runner, and then as a head football coach and as a head track coach, and then as a leader in my businesses. Um, Sometimes I roll my tenses wrong, so please give me a prepaid platinum card on that, okay? Because we're just going through and we're going off the top of our head and we're going live, straight on, straight through. All right, enough of that. We're going to talk about our all pronouns that we talk about. I talk from a man's perspective. And so if you're a pronoun and you kind of feel slighted, don't feel slighted. Just input your pronoun and then just keep stepping. Okay, that's how we do that. Okay, and that covers everyone. Okay, so now back to the leaders create their own stress. The reason why leaders create their own stress is simply because sometimes they have to do things for the greater good of the whole. And then sometimes they have to do good for what's the greater good of the lesser. So say if you have a team of 10 people, let's just say, okay, and we're just pick 10 as a number just because it's an even number. It's easy, sometimes it's easier to work with even numbers. Okay, so let's say you have 10 at will employees underneath you. Okay, and if you have employees, you can input that, or if you have some other kind of name, customer service, or whatever you call them, real estate agents, whatever it is. Okay, we just insert those, whatever it is your call, so we're not forgetting anybody. Those are just the ones off the top of my head. So what happens is, say you got a sales goal you want to get for the end of the week or the bi-weekly or monthly. Let's just say or daily. Just depends on how your business is set up. Okay, so your sales goals might be okay. We gotta reach these amount of numbers by this particular time. So everybody says, okay, boss, let's get it on. Okay, this is the problem. Say you're a new leader coming on and you're trying to top the old leader, which is a bad thing to do. You just got to stay in your creative mind. But the number one issue is going to be your due diligence. And that due diligence is what gets a lot of people in trouble. And it gets a lot of people to have people against them as against their leadership. So if I'm in sales, then I have to look at the previous sales information or the so-called due diligence or the data intelligence or the analysis, however you frame it. Okay, I have to look at those numbers and see if there's patterns, if there's things that can be done different. So maybe it's the social media can be done different. Maybe there's someone else that's bringing an advertising agency or some kind of agency or some kind of fresh new thought. And so when we have our meetings, even though we're the leader, the best practice should be let's lead from the front and the back at the same time. So we got a two-pronged attack. So you're saying, okay, on the front side, you're saying, these are the goals that I need you to reach. But on the back side, you're also saying, I'm going to give you the tools to be successful. This what constitutes a great leader. You don't have to provide the tools to help them to be successful, but you don't want to fight a battle that you can't win, and that's the old cliche. So one of the situations is, okay, if I provide them the tools to be greater, and we're able to change those tools or manifest those tools so that we have a protocol now and we have a base protocol. We don't have a perfect protocol. We have what they call a base protocol, and that base protocol will determine your culture. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. Okay, and everybody gives their input. And then as everybody gives their input, your protocol is developed in real time on demand. That's what they call me, R. Todd, real time on demand. That's my nickname. So as I'm leading, or as you're leading, you've got a two-pronged attack. And now you're adding a third prong because you're putting in the training or the situations for your people to be successful. There's always going to be somebody that's not going to get it. So you have to find a way to get them active into the situation because they may have the best ideas. They may have the worst ideas, but they go in the general pot. So that's the part that a lot of people miss. To be a leader, sometimes you got to turn into the wind and do the unpopular opinion. But how you negate that is by providing tools so that people can move forward, and then to make those tools nimble so that you're leading in a 360-degree situation. You don't need to control everything. You just need to provide the platforms that are available and that can work for you. And if you need to change what you need to do, then you can change them immediately. But you want to keep things simple. You want everything ease of use. It's like I remember back in the day when computers first came out. They had some stores that are not around right now. They used to teach computer classes, but they were taught from a computer tech situation and not from a ease of use situation. Whereas now, that was 20, 30 years ago. Whereas now, you can just turn on a computer, open it up, connect to the internet, download what you need or whatever, load up what you need, and then you can go from there. That constitutes effective leadership. And the protocol is always the same in all ways because it makes that everyone can do it. And then you see the same thing with the UI with the cell phones. Charge your phone up, ready to go. Buy your phone, charge it up, ready to go. Sometimes they come in a pre-charge. So it just depends on what you want to do, and then you just download whatever else you need or whatever else you bought. These are specific situations that makes for a great leader. So is your cell phone the leader of you, or are you the leader of the cell phone? That's a great question. I'm not going to answer it. It's an easy question, and some of you people out there know what it is. I won't tell what mine is, but I'll just tell you I use mine very effectively. It's one of the greatest tools in the history of the world. So leaders create their own stress. The reason being is because leaders are always leading. That's why you got to surround yourself with a great team. And that team has to be for you in your situation, and they can also be for you and for their own situation so that you can produce more and more. And this is a very quaint concept, but it's a great concept because it takes the sting out of everything. So right now, we're going to take a little break with our famous Up From the Ashes music and then one of our commercials. Hold on.
at ndhglobal.com we strive to build networks, net worth and net gains with our investing partners. When potential income-producing deals arrive, we align our strengths to provide relevant solutions to our club members. We offer a broad range of services for business owners, executives and independent professionals within our investment club. These disciplines are pursued: real estate, transportation assets, and business development, all wrapped into nationwide opportunities. We are knowledgeable, experienced, and successful.
Okay, thank you and welcome back. This is David, your host from Success Through Strategy, and this is part two of Leaders Create Their Own Stress for show two. I gotta tell you, one of the big things that I learned this past week was that being a leader in everything you do sets a standard. So you want to set a standard for yourself. Now, in part two of this, we're going to talk a little bit about that, and we're going to talk about what we just previously said about having a great team around you. The old adage is hire well, manage less. We're just going to deal with that part up at the front side. And that's very true. A lot of times in designing your team, it's trial and error because you don't have a protocol as to what you really need and want. And those two have to add up. Like for me and my businesses, it just was just about getting people that understood my mission of what I was trying to accomplish and what I actually was accomplishing. And I should say is also. So those are my criteria. And I have more criteria than that, but that was the base criteria. And then I added the tools on the backside so that they could be successful. And I initially wanted them to go out and be on their own, which is great. So that's good. So, and a lot of people say, well, you want to keep those people there. Well, they're compensated well, and then it's on them as far as how far they want to go. And then sometimes we invest in those people because we know those people, so we can go ahead and invest in them. So we can keep growing and they can grow, and everybody gets fed. And that's the whole point of being in your creative mind as opposed to being your competitive mind. One of the big, big, big situations is if I stay in my creative mind, then I can produce more in less amount of time because I'm not fighting myself. I'm going along with the flow of things. And what I mean by that is when you get in the river, if you get in the center part of the river and it's deep enough, it's going to take you down river. It's going to take you downstream. If you stay on the edges and you try to fight the river, then essentially you're fighting your own body weight and the river's still going to pull you anyway. So that's what we mean. And it's just like driving or riding in a jet. It gets into the jet stream and then, it does what it does. So these are parts that make up the sum of the whole. Now, I'm a big believer in the greater good. Okay. And in leadership, you always can't have the greater good. You're going to have something along those lines, but maybe, someone has to be pushed to their limits for something to get done. And we're talking in just a generalized business view or a sports view. So with that being said, the reality is this. Once you have your standard and your protocol is nimble, then you're going to be successful because you're constantly redoing everything every day. And those standards and those protocols will help to keep you out of legal trouble, help to keep you going straight ahead so that when you have meetings, now everybody can tell you how the protocol is working and if it sucks or not. So that's the big thing right now. And one of the situations with it is it makes for a well-rounded company. You see this a lot in startups. You see this a lot in organized businesses. The more established businesses, they're usually stuck with their protocol. And so what it does is down the line, It doesn't work anymore because society changes, people's changes, product changes, how we shop changes, which is what we're seeing now. We're in the middle of it. We're going from brick and mortar to all over, anytime, anywhere. I can shop as long as I got an internet connection. And if I don't have an internet connection, I can download the info of the products, and I can, when I do get internet connection, I can reload them and go ahead and still shop. So we're getting there. And so these are the different things and scenarios that cause leaders to have an issue, because some leaders are stuck. Oh, I'm stuck on a 20th century economy. Well, it's the 21st century. So we have to be in the 21st century economy, and we don't have to look forward. We got to look for now, which will propel us forward. So when we get to forward, we're already going to have protocol and everything set in place so that we can keep going. And that's important. It's very important now when you run your business and you run your teams. If you have sports teams or you have regular teams online, it's very important that everybody's input is usable. Those that are not usable or need to be put in a separate pile, so to speak, as a cliche goes there. Because what happens with all of these things is that they account for something. So it's very a thin margin for success. And the competition out here is so keen that you have to be in your creative mind because you have to constantly create something new. And to create something new, you got to create it in your company. If you're selling the same old products, you have to create something new in your company about how you're going to do it, whether it's your sales, your presentation, your marketing, whatever, wherever the case may be, your strategy. And that's why I'm success through strategy, because I'm going to constantly update strategy for the new normal, or the new norm for those of you that like to cut everything off. So that's why. So one of the big situations in all of this is to be as nimble as possible, no matter how big your company is, so that you can make a change. So depending on your size of your company, it can be 24, 48, 72, or a year worth of hours to be nimble. And that's the part I always wanted to be. I wanted to be just so big, but also wanted to be just so nimble so that I could change 360 without it being much of an issue if I need be. So that doesn't mean that my companies are limited. No. It doesn't mean that I'm limited. No. It just means that I'm receptive to change to make more on the bottom line. So leadership comes with a lot of personal accolades and a lot of personal failures. But the thing about leadership is it's part of your success, it's part of your journey. So you never actually fail. You just keep moving forward. If at first you don't succeed, dust off and run to the next point. Might have got some of you there because you thought I was going to come back with the try again. No, we're going to run to the next point because we're going to spread our wings, get off the ground, and we spread our wings and we go and we run till we can fly, and then we fly till we can get that jetpack, and then we can get that jetpack with those wings. Then we get the rocket pack with the wings, and then we keep going. And we go beyond that. That's why it's important for all of us out here and those that are listening to my podcast to take a different take at what you need to do to be better. And that's what we're trying to do. That's our goal, is to try to be better each and every day. And I'll say this constantly in some of my podcasts. I have a bevy of things that I do, but what I do is I keep my mind active. I read self-help books. I try to talk to people better and different. I try not to allow my personal issues get in the way, so I work on those every day. They are what they call works in progress, so they're really not issues; they're just whips. And I try to do the best I can with my businesses, and I think I'm doing well, And when I get feedback from at will employees, then it tells me what I'm doing. Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, it doesn't matter. Just as long as I'm getting feedback and we're able to move forward from it. So that's great. So when my companies get bigger, they got department heads and all that stuff, it'll probably change, but it'll change through, this will be the whole structure of the company. So I don't want, at this point in time, I want somebody working the shop floor to be able to come talk to me and tell me, okay, we need to do this and this, this, and this. We have a private conversation, okay, and we don't hold it against anybody, their manager or somebody they work with. We just get it done, and the changes are made, and then that's as long as it's approved and it's within whatever regulations we're dealing with at the time, OSHA, whatever, any of those things that we got to deal with is having business if you have a brick and mortar business. So that's what I like. And even online, the laws are becoming real keen, real quick because we're so much online, and majority of my business is online. So the big thing out of this whole leaders create their own stress is to realize even though you're a leader, you have to listen to those around you because they may have ideas that can limit your stress or take your stress level down. In order to take your stress level down, a lot of times you got to let go. You got to quit micromanaging. And that's the highest point when you see somebody that's stressed is because they're trying to micromanage everything. But obviously you haven't put your vision out there for enough people to understand it and internalize it at that's under you or working with you so that you can move forward. So then it goes back to hire well, manage less. So that's the whole thing in a nutshell. And it goes for sports teams also. Sometimes you got to look at film, you got to do your due diligence, and you got to understand what's going on because a lot of times you can get stuck. And when you get stuck, you like in mud. So you go on a losing streak, you get to the point where you're not listening to anyone and you're taking everything personal. Now you have effectively got out of your creative mind and got into your competitive mind in your field of sport. And once you're in your competitive mind, that means you have limited coaching ability. So you have to get back up, get into your creative mind so that you can move forward. And your creative mind is, say you're a football coach and you got some plays that aren't working. Don't mean you junk them. You just go and find out what adjustments need to be made on those plays and what techniques do we need to be teaching so that those plays can move forward, they can be successful. And that's the whole purpose. So your fundamentals. Whereas in business, what is your protocol versus what actually is from the sales, from marketing, from all the things that you have to do to run that business. You should be getting banners or markers or analysis, due diligence from what you need to do, and then you should be able to accurately predict, or at least be 85 to 90% predict where things are going in your industry and where you need to be to stay ahead of that curve so that you can differentiate yourself with your product. I am he is me, or I am she, and she is me, or add your pronouns. It's no way I'm going through the whole list, but add your pronouns and say that. And what that does for you, and when you do it, what that'll do for you is look in the mirror and just say that to yourself. And that way, give yourself some motivation. And when you leave work, allow yourself some minutes, even if you're running out the door. Allow yourself some minutes in your car to take a couple of deep breaths. If you're on a train, take a couple of deep breaths, but keep your head on a swivel if you're on a if you're in a public place, you got to ride the train, the bus, whatever. Just make sure start getting yourself relaxed so that you can let go from the office work. Sometimes it's hard to do because you still have business meetings. Oh, we're gonna have an online meeting at 7 p.m. or and you got off at 5. So just you'll have epiphanies that'll come to you if you stay in your creative mind. Like, oh, I did this. Maybe I should have done this better. But if you know in your heart that what you think is better is not correct, then let it go. You know in your heart if you didn't do what you needed to do the first time, let it go. But get your strategy together for the next day. So one of your strategy is when you get home from work, make sure that you take care of yourself. You spend time, even if you have kids or significant others, or you're taking care of people, or you got a combination thereof. Take some time for yourself and just let your mind sit still. Give yourself 15 or 20 minutes to just kind of live your success that you had that day. Even if you felt like you lost that day, you lost a sale or got demoted or got fired, whatever the case may be. allow yourself to understand that you did get there and you were there and you were productive. It's just time for you to go in a different direction. That's what you have to think. And just, I am him, he is me. I am she is me. I am a pronoun. There you go. And you just keep going, okay? Keep going. Sorry about that, but just keep going. I'm just not going all the way through it. I'm just telling you. So that way you can keep yourself going and take a couple of deep breaths, and just think about the good things of your life, you know, or, don't try to emotional eat, and just sit back and relax and let that stress go. We'll probably have, I'll probably do maybe a meditation or some kind of relaxation that I'll do probably the next few days that you can always refer to. I did something called blah the other day. It wasn't supposed to be there, but we just let it rise. So I don't care. But we're gonna do something with that. You'll see it'll say something about meditative exercise or something, just something or relaxing uh, something of that nature. Okay, we don't know what it's going to be called, but it's in my mind to do it. So we're going to do it, and we'll just have I'll be talking about how to breathe and different things, and it may work for you, it may not. But if you're going to listen to my podcast, we got to try to cover you in all ways, so that when you listen to my podcast, no matter what, you're going to get something out of it. Like I always say, and that's the whole purpose of me doing the podcast. So we do like donations, and we do like likes and subscribe. And if you guys could do that for me, that would be great. So I can know where I'm at. Even if you got to send me some bad stuff, it's fine. But we're going to be here every Tuesday as from 6 o'clock on. We don't know how long it's going to last. I want to tell you an hour. I want to tell you 30 minutes, but I'm going to just tell you it'll go accordingly. So we got to get some more chat, some mobile chat in there, and get this thing together. And if I need to put this show 1 hour later, I will, or earlier, or whatever the case need to be, because we are successful people, and I'm sure there's a lot of successful people that listen. And I just want you guys to know out there that no matter what, you're gonna ride with me. That's why we're Success Through Strategy. So it's like we're in this big bus with jets, wings, all kinds of stuff on board to help everyone move forward and to keep me moving forward, so I can help to keep you guys moving forward. I presume the best out of everyone. I presume to be the best that I can be at least 90% of the time. So this is me. And I want to thank you for listening tonight. And I want to thank you for being you. And I want to thank you for having the time to just kind of roll with me tonight. So thank you. And we're going to bring our favorite song up.
Here at ndhglobal.com we strive to build networks, net worth and net gains with our investing partners. When potential income-producing deals arrive, we align our strengths to provide relevant solutions to our club members. We offer a broad range of services for business owners, executives and independent professionals within our investment club. These disciplines are pursued: real estate, transportation assets, and business development, all wrapped into nationwide opportunities. We are knowledgeable, experienced, and successful.
This is David from Show 2. Leaders Create Their Own Stress, Part 1. Thank you for listening. We wish you a blessed evening and great day tomorrow.